Yo, okay, so check this out. Look at this. So on the screen right here, we went to DuckDuckGo and then we typed in treason because we wanted to see what the images of treason look like when you look at it. Right, so these are all the photos or all the images of treason when you look at that, right? Because we want to do a bit and we want to do a show because we want to look at this right here. We want to show you what's up with treason, man, because it's a fun word, right? I know we do a lot of talking about treason because that's just how we do our shows and our flows, because we're always looking for treason because it means when you betray the trust, right? When you hand over the trust, right? And it's just fun, right? But we have this week, see the week 8/24/2022. So during this week, we already have 2 examples that were released out in the public, right, of our public servants literally committing what we would call treason, right? And we will show you how it's treason. We will show you how they betray the trust of the people, right? Ready? Okay, so check this out. Hey, God's people, this one's for you, man, because you know what's up, man. You guys know that we have a duty and an obligation, and we are responsible to administer God's kingdom, right? We all have a duty to do that, right? And I don't care who you are, what you are, where you're from, or anything like that, right? You have to administer God's kingdom, man. Scary, simple service, all right? And I'm going to show you what's up. Okay, ready? Here we go. Right, remember, always Proverbs 1:7, the fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge, right? So when you fear God, when you try the Lord, that's the beginning of knowledge. That's when you know. That's when it all starts, right? But also remember this, right? But fools despise wisdom and instruction, right? So you're always going to have to deal with that, right? You're always going to know when you try to show someone words, right, and then you try to explain to them and you try to make them or help them become wise, right, and you try to instruct them and they don't like that, you know that you're dealing with a fool, man. You know that, okay? All right, let's keep it going. Right, so always remember Genesis 1:1. In the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth, right? So this is when you get your boundaries. When you set your boundaries and you want to know, when you look up and you look down and you're like, who created all of this, right? You know, and you touch yourself and you're like, who created all this? Now you know, in the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth and everything. Fact, man, that's a fact. All right, let's keep it going, right? You know, so you also have to protect, right? You as a man, you as a woman, you as one of the people, right? You as one of God's people, you have to protect God's kingdom, God's realm, right? And that means that you have to cover it, man. You have to cover it and you have to make sure it's never in danger, it's never in any harm, no one damages it, right? You have to make sure no one trespasses on God's kingdom, right? That's what you have to do. That is a huge responsibility, man. You know, and I know most people don't know that they have to do this, right? But then once you understand what you are, who you are, where you came from, who created you, right? Who's your father, right? Who's your brother, right? Who's your mother, right? You're going to be like, oh my God, I got a lot of work to get down and doing. All right, so here we go, right? So we're always going to start off with the order of God's realm, okay? Here's the order. God created the world, check. God created man, aka the people, check. People created states, check. People created constitutions, check. People created governments, check. Question, when did government become boss of the people? Okay, so this is something you always want to ask yourself whenever you wander around God's kingdom, all right? Let's look, let's go. So here we go. We're starting off with the great law, a maxim of law, authority, right? 11, authority, also servant, also jurisdiction, right? You want to look at these words, right? Look at 11a. A delegated power cannot be again delegated. Remember that, right? Remember that. So God delegated power to the people, right? And now the people, we have power to administer God's kingdom, right? But we as the people, we cannot then again delegate that power to someone else to administer God's kingdom. Remember that, okay? Check this out. A deputy cannot have or appoint a deputy. Remember? It's the same words, right? You know, so if you are a deputy of God, right, you cannot then again appoint another deputy of God. You can't do that, right? That's just a no-no, right? You know, so this also applies to our public servants, right? Because we are the creators of our public servants' jurisdiction. Remember that. We create their jurisdiction, right? And then we have given them power, right? But they cannot go in and delegate that power that we've given them, man. They cannot go and they cannot appoint a deputy from something that we gave them. Remember that, okay? All right, so check this out. Guardian, remember, inheritance, minor, legal capacity. Check out 53C. Remember, right? If a guardian do fraud, and fraud means to cheat, and to cheat means to take, right? So if a guardian takes something from his ward, he shall be removed from his guardianship, right? So you cannot take things from God's kingdom, right? You cannot fraud God's kingdom. You cannot cheat God's kingdom, right? And we as the people, we have a responsibility to look out and to protect God's kingdom, right? And now when we see this, and now when we can find it, then we're going to show you what's up, right? And now we're going to show you how sometimes people cheat, right? They cheat. It's real sneaky. They cheat with the words, man. And once we find out that they're cheating, then we remove them. We remove them from the guardianship, okay? All right, so let's keep it going. The way that we do this is that we walk you through Plato's cave, right? We like to go through Plato's cave, and we like to show words on the screen and images on the screen, right? And then we show you, we will show you that we're the ones holding up the images to go on the screen, right? And the reason why we do this is because other people might not tell you the images that are on the screen are being controlled by some other entity, right? But we wish to bring you to the light, right? Because we want to show you it's really the light that's putting up the images on the screen, man. Scary simple service, okay? Let's keep it going, right? The way that we do that is that we use the grand jury, right? Grand meaning great, jury meaning word, right? So we show you the great word, right? Even though we got the people who are in the jury always looking like this, like, I don't want to do this work. It's not my responsibility. I just want to go home and watch Netflix and chill. No, man. You got a duty and an obligation, right? Because you are one of the people, right? You were created in the image of God, and therefore you have a lot of work that you got to do, man. You thought you were just going to come down here and just chill? No way. Right? You got to make sure that the future is going to be cool for the little people, man. All right, let's keep it going. So the way that we do this is that we love to do the function of the grand jury is to investigate the operations of the various officers, departments, and agencies of local government, man. That's all we do. We just look at what are you guys doing, man? Are you guys matching up to what the Constitution says? If you don't match what the Constitution says, then that means that we're seeing that you guys are being bad small masters, man. And we look for bad small masters. That's all we do. We just investigate and we look for bad small masters. All right, here. Let me show you what maladministration is, right? Maladministration means bad small master. That's it, right? So if you have someone who is not managing the affairs of the people properly, that means that they're a bad small master, right? And if you're a bad small master, that means you're not listening. You're not following the rules. And then we have rules to put some pain on you now because if you don't follow the rules, right? It's really simple. We just put you in timeout in all sorts of different ways, man, okay? Here's what we look for, right? The easiest way to see is if someone is a bad small master is if they deliver the trust, if they betray the trust, right? If they hand over the trust of the people to someone else, right? If they hand over the credit of the people to someone else, that means that they're committing treason, right? It's really simple. It's not hard, right? So all you have to do is look at the words that we the people wrote down for our public servants to operate under, and we see, are you following the rules, right? And if they don't, then we see that you are betraying the trust, man, and that means that you're committing treason, okay? Here's another way, right? We always look for war, right? We always look for war in the subtle way, right? So if they cause confusion, if they mix things up, example, if they use not correct words when they should be using correct words, and then they're trying to confuse the people, the easiest one that I always come up with is we the people are republics, right? So all of our governments are republic in nature, right? But whenever you hear the public servants go on the screen and they go blah, 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 our democracy, they are causing confusion. They are mixing up the words, right? That means that they are bringing on war to the people. That is an example of treason, okay? So now you have two examples of treason within just them confusing the people with the words that they use or handing over the credit of the people to someone else, man. Okay, so here we go. Before we walk, we always have to start off with our preamble by showing who is the power. Where does the power come from? The power comes from God, and then God gave the people power to create little jurisdictions for our public servants, right? And this is one of them right here. See, check this out. Here goes California Constitution, right? We the people created the California Constitution. This is how you know. We the people of the state of California, grateful to Almighty God, yo, what's up, God, for our freedom in order to secure and perpetuate its blessings, do establish this Constitution. So the people created the constitutions for all of our corporations, all of our government servants, all entities that operate under the Constitution. You guys are servants of we the people, man. And that's just showing you right there, okay? So here we go. So here goes Article 1, California Constitution, right? Section 18, right? All of the constitutions have this in it too, right? So text of Section 18 says, treason against the state consists only in levying war against it, adhering to its enemies, or giving them aid and comfort, right? A person may not be convicted of treason except on the evidence of two witnesses to the same overt act or by confession in open court, right? You know, so when they're talking about the state are we the people, right? We the people are the state, right? You know, so if you betray the trust of the people, that means that you are levying war against the people, right? So if you give things to the people, enemies of the people, that means treason, right? That means war, right? If you give them aid and comfort, that means treason. That means war, right? If you use the wrong words, right, and you keep calling our republic a democracy, right, that means war. That is treason, right? And that's just simple. Now, so a person, meaning any corporation, any entity that goes on the screen, right, any public servant, you know, who swears an oath to the Constitution, you may not be convicted of treason except, right? So this is how you will be convicted of treason. Two witnesses, right? So where there's two people, right? So if one man, one woman, or two men and two women, whatever, if the people get together and say, hey man, we're noticing that you're doing something wrong. And when we say notice, that means if we put in a piece of paper and we list down all the rules that you're supposed to follow and you don't follow those rules, right? And then we're letting you know in open court by taking our own oath that you are doing harm against the people. We call that treason, friend, right? And then now we got you, right? So we got a lot of people right now that are called public servants, and we're just showing you now what's up. We're showing you how they commit treason in our face, right? They do it in our face, and they do it so subtle, right? And it's just sad, right? But now we're going to show you what's up. Okay, so check this out. Here goes the 1849 California Constitution, and then in this one, treason is in Section 20, right? You know, so it moved up a couple, you know, in the new one, but it's still in here. So treason against the state shall consist only in levying war against it, right? So it's still the same. It's still in the Constitution, right? So even though that the newer constitutions, right, the areas that they might put things in might be different, as long as you're able to match up the words in the constitutions, right? Old constitutions should be matching the new constitutions, right? Because they can only change the constitutions if they ask us, right? And if they don't ask us properly, then that means anything that they put in the Constitution is void, right? You know, so they must ask us properly if they want to change something in the Constitution, right? And if they don't do it properly, then that means it's void. That means it's a no-no, and we just keep it going, and we'll hit you for treason there too, all right? Let's keep it going. So we like this image right here because it shows you an illustration of how the power is administered in God's kingdom, also in the people's realms, right? You know, so if you look right here and it says Constitution, right, and then you see the three branches of government, right? You have legislators, which make the laws, you have executives, which carries out the law, and then you have the judges, which interprets the law, right? But the Constitution comes from something called the people, right? And then the people come from something called God, right? So God is always the boss of the people, right? Not the governments. God is always the boss of the people. And then the people are always the bosses of the constitutions. Therefore, the people are the bosses of all legislatures, all executives, and all judges, right? The people are your boss. Remember that. And any other entity that's running underneath here, right, you know, and any of these other things right here, we the people are your boss, right? You know, so when the people send you notice, right, and we send you mail and we say, you better read these words, man, and you better tell us who's boss, and then you don't get back to us, right, then that means that you've just consented that we the people are your boss, and now we got you in a completely different way, man. All right, so let's show some more words, right? So we're going to show you what's up with men, right? We're always going to show you men because men means to think, right? Men means to think. So when you have government, right, that means to think. It also means mind, right? So we're just showing you all these different ways of how the word of man, men, mind, think is always in your face, man. Scary simple service, okay? So let's keep it going, right? Law. Right, law is always to lie down, to lay, right? So when we lay down the words for you, when we layer these words for you, when we show you their measure, when we show you their stroke, right? When you show you how it's being put down, right? We're showing you the law, man. And all word is law, right? The word is law, right? So we don't let people confuse you anymore by trying to put in a bunch of words to cause confusion, right? Because we know what confusion means. That means war, right? So we want peace now, right? That's all we do is we like to show peace, right? Remember what word is. Word means speak. Word means say. So anything that you speak, anything that you say, anything that you think that comes out of your mouth, that you put that down on a piece of paper now, we know what your words are now, man. We know what they are, and you're going to say it, and we will know you by your words, right? We will know everything about you by the words that you say. It's really easy now. And with the internet, that's recording all the words that you say. So it's even easier now, right? Okay, so check this out. Sedition. We like this one, right? See this two-word word, right? Sedition means, SCD means without. Issue means a going, right? A going to go. So without a going to go, right? It means rebel, right? So if you go against something, that means you're sedition. You're in sedition, right? Without a going, right? You're not walking with us. If you don't walk with we the people, and you're not walking with us in peace because you don't agree to the words that we wrote on our constitutions that you're supposed to follow. Example, if you keep calling our republic a democracy, that's an example of sedition, okay? If you create words that cause our prices to increase within our markets, that's called sedition. That means you're rebelling against the words that we the people wrote down for you, man, right? And in our public servants, you should not be doing that. You should not be going apart from what we write to you, right? You should be walking with your masters. We the people are the masters, right? Remember that, right? The same way that the people walk with God and follow what God's words are, you public servants should be following what our words are, right? And if you don't, then that's called sedition. Okay, let's keep it going. Subvert, right? Another two-word word, right? Sub meaning under, vert means to turn, right? So if you try to turn from under, right? So if you try to go into our political machines, right, our political institutions, and you try to turn things from up underneath them, right, and you try to cause confusion to the people from up underneath them, that's called subversion, man. That's another example of treason. All right, let's keep it going, right? We're just showing you what these words mean, man. Remember, republic, right? Republic, two things, right? Affair, matter, thing, thing, or again, people. Remember that. See this right here? R-E, property of people. Remember that. Public means people. So whenever you see public means people. It's really simple once you understand the words, right? So affair of people. Again, people. Matter of people. Thing of people. Remember that. Scary simple, right? Not a democracy. I'll show you what democracy is, right? Look at democracy, right? Democracy. Demos, right? You skip over this because they try to add in common people, but you can't have that right there. Demos literally means district, right? See, demotic, right? So if you have demos, democracy means district rule, and then you go over here and then you look at demotic, right? And then you see where that word comes from demo, remember demon, right? Division, to divide, right? So when you are in a democracy, that means you're trying to divide, right? You are always going to divide the districts, right? And that's why they have all those words, for the people, right? That's why they create all these different words for the people instead of man, woman, child, people, right? They give you all other words, right? And then when you check off those boxes, that means they slide you into their jurisdiction, right? And then that means that they're now your masters because they're the ones who've given you the words, man. Okay? So check this out. We're going to go over here, right? So this is in 18 U.S. Code, Chapter 115, treason, sedition, and subversive activities, right? So this is crimes and criminal procedures, right? Part 1's crime. So you can go here, just go on to uscode.gov uscode.house.gov, and then you can type this in and you can look it out, but it's going to show you all the things for treason, right? That's just what we focus on, treason, right? And then you see how everything in here is a crime, and then there's a criminal procedure, right? And that's just what we do now. We just show you how the game goes, man. So here we are, so check this out, right? So we use this Gateway Pundit, right? Because this is a public entity, that is delivering information to the people, where you can see the words, right? So here goes where a judge blocks a moratorium, right? So a judge blocks a moratorium on federal oil and gas leasing, right? So what had happened is that there was a man, who was elected to be the president, of the United States, right? And then he has a duty and an obligation to make sure that all the people are happy, right? But then this entity wrote a moratorium, and a moratorium basically delays things. It hinders things, right? So they delayed the oil. They delayed the gas, right? They delayed the oil and they delayed the gas. And what that caused was for the prices of the oil and the prices of the gas to increase, right? And what that did was that caused harm to the people. That's an example of treason. Okay, so now you have an open example that you can see from the Gateway Pundit, which is in the public, and you can go read this. And this was put out on August 19th, 2022, right? At 8:35 p.m. And then you can go read it, right? And then it's going to show you where you can go, and then you can find the executive order, right? Because there was an executive order. Where was it? Yeah. Right here. There was an executive order 14008 titled the Executive Order on Tackling the Climate Crisis at Home and Abroad, right? On January 27, 2021, right? So that executive order is full of examples of how they confuse the people with the words, right? And when you confuse the people, that means you bring war to the people, and that's an example of treason, okay? All right, so let's keep it going. Remember when I was saying moratorium means to hinder or delay? So this is where the word comes from, right? Moratorium, right? To hinder, delay, from mor, right? Mor, right? To hinder, delay, right? So you're just trying to stop something from becoming solid. Okay, so here's another example of treason, right? So 3 courts in the state of California in a week rule in favor of we the people against one of the public servants' COVID-19 lockdowns, right? So that's one of our public servants. That's called the governor. Look at his face. He's like, you got me. You'll never get me, coppers. Right, we got you this time, bro. Okay, so so check this out, right? So this man wrote some words down, right? So he wrote some words down in his executive order that says that all of the people need to stop their businesses. They need to stop being happy. They need to stop being free, right? Because there's this thing called a state of emergency, and because of that, I'm your boss, I'm your master, and I'm going to tell you what you can and can't do, right? But, the people took him to court, right? Because he tried to shut down the church, right? And then the church was like, nah, you can't do that, bro, right? So the court was also letting them know that, yeah, you overstepped your authority, man. You can't do that, right? So he found out that he shut down the church, and a lot of churches shut down because they didn't know what's up, because they lack knowledge, because they're ignorant, right? But then one of the churches was going all out, and he's like, yo, I'm going to show you what's up, bro. I'm going to show you who's boss, right? So then they were playing in the courts, right? And then they're letting the courts know this is what the rules say, this is what the Constitution says, this is what the law says, right? And we're telling you that our public servant overstepped his authority, right? And then the court ruled, yeah, we agree with you, right? Here's a second one. A second court ruled that since the governor picked which businesses, so how can the governor pick which businesses were allowed to remain open in order for them to flatten the curve, right? Because there was an emergency, right? And then he said, you can stay open, you can't stay open. You are essential and you are not essential. And then the courts were telling him nah, you can't do that, man. That's another form of you overstepping your boundaries. We call that treason, right? Because you betrayed the trust of the people. Because all people by nature are free. Remember that, right? All people by God are free, right? So you always have to remember, no public servant can tell you as being one of the people, that you are not essential. You are essential because you were created by God, and God made sure that you have dominion over everything, right? So our public servants don't have dominion over our property. Our body is our property, right? The things that we create with our minds are our property, right? Your business is your property, right? Even though that you might have registered your business in a different jurisdiction, ultimately it is your property. And once you find somebody who has the knowledge that can show you that, right, you guys are going to have so much power, it's going to be unbelievable. Here's another one. A third court ruled that businesses are allowed to sue the governor or the government for targeting them, right? Because they tried to shut down their free speech. They tried to say, hey man, you can't do. So some people were saying, you don't have that right. You don't have that authority, right? But the governor and the government has all of these other people who don't know how to think. They just know how to follow orders and rules, right? And they don't know how to see. They don't know who the power comes from. And since all the power comes from we the people, they didn't know that. So they were just acting all out of bounds, all out of order, right? It was just so much disorder going on, right? And people were trying to speak, and they were trying to show you, you can't do that, right? And then what the governor did was that he went and then he created hardships. He created hardships for the people who were speaking, right? And then he made sure that they couldn't get their money, right? So he put boundaries up and he built walls around the businesses, the people's businesses, for them speaking, right? And then he tried to find them and he tried to say, you got to give us money because you're going against the rules. And then the people were like, no way, bro, you're wrong, right? And then they did that for a long time. And then until the courts, you had to take it to the court in order for them to show, because that's just what we do in peace, man. We just take the words and then we show them to the judge and we're like, hey man, judge, look at these words. And the judge was like, yeah, I agree with those words. And then the judge was saying, hey, Mr. Governor, Mr. Government, you guys broke the law. You guys were breaking the law, right? So now we're letting you know, right? And then this is another example of treason or another example of war, because they were using confusion. They caused confusion by the words that they were showing the people, man. Scary, simple service, right? All right, let's keep it going, right? So authority always goes back to author, right? So author is like your master. God is my master, right? God is my leader. God is my author, right? Public servants are not my master. Public servants are not my leader. Public servants are not my author, right? So they have no authority over we the people, right? So that's why whenever you hear them saying, we are your leaders, right? That is another example of them openly committing treason against the people, because they're betraying your trust, right? Because nowhere in the Constitution does it say that they are our master. Nowhere in the Constitution does it say that they are the people's leaders or they are the authors of the people, right? You have to remember that, right? Because we will know you by your words, right? So every man and every woman out there, if you keep saying, we got to follow our public servants because they're our leader. Man, it's the other way around, man. They work for us. They work for we the people, man. This is stupid simple now, right? Once you see the words, you're going to be free. Really, you're going to be free. So check out author. Remember, author comes from, this is why we're in August right now, and August means to increase, right? So things that grow. One who causes to grow is what an author is, right? A teacher is an author, right? God is my author because God caused me to grow, right? So God makes me grow as one of the people, right? Therefore, God is my author, God is my master, God is my father, God is my creator, right? No public servant is my author. No public servant is my creator, right? No public servant allowed me to come to be, right? That's just a fact, man. So once you know that they are not your leader, they are not your author, they have no authority over you, you're going to be free. Seriously, okay? So let's keep it going. Power, right? Power always comes from right here. Potus, power, powerful. Lord, right? Lord meaning master, right? One who has power, person in authority. You see how these words keep going over, right? So my power comes from Jesus Christ, my brother, right? Because Jesus showed me God, right? And he said, yo, you can't get to God unless you come from me, right? So when I got the oil, when I got that oil rubbed on my body, right? And then, my water was reborn, right? And then I was baptized by the name of my brother Christ, right? I got power. I have abilities now, right? And I know that no public servant has power over we the people. I know that now, right? Because the only power is God. God is all powerful, right? God gave we the people the power to administer God's kingdom, because God said, man, you have dominion over the realm, right? He didn't say, man, public servant has dominion over the realm and they can tell you what to do. No way. It doesn't say that. God said, man, you have dominion over that, right? So now whenever your public servant tries to come and say that they're your Lord, they're your master, they're your leader, right? They have authority over you. You better show them the words, man. You better show them what's up, right? And then once you do that, you're going to be free. Seriously, once you know that God is master, once you know that Jesus Christ is your Lord, right? You get the oil from that, you're going to be free. Remember that, right? All men, all women were created in the image of God, right? It's really simple, okay? So let's go ahead and get ready to close this out. Right, so we have a JotForm. We have a JotForm in this, right? And then it's always going to be in the description, right? And then we wish for you to link on that, right? Because it's showing you how you can be powerful, how you can tell your servants what's up and what to do, right? So check this out. We the people demand our servants take the necessary steps to immediately secure our southern borders, right? So we're letting our servants know right now, yo, you guys better do your job. You better secure our southern borders, right? Because that's what you're supposed to do, right? So we don't have an open door policy, right? So whoever comes into our republic, right, they have to follow certain rules, right? This isn't a democracy. This is a republic. Right? So now we let all the public servants know that this is a republic. They better follow the rules. And if they don't follow the rules and secure our borders, right, we're coming after you for treason. We're coming after you for maladministration. We're coming after you for war, because you are betraying the trust of the people. You are causing confusion with we the people, right, by not doing your job. It's really simple. So if you don't do your job, public servant, then that means that you will be held up for treason. You will be held up for committing confusion and war against the people, man. It's really that simple, okay? So here goes another one, right? Shout out to my man, David Jose. Go to libertydollar.org, right? I'm going to keep pressing this one right here, right? Because, this is called America's inflation-proof currency, right? The Liberty Dollar, the financial association, that means private, right? Financial association. So when Christ is always saying, follow me, follow me, follow me, Christ is saying, associate with me, associate with me, associate with me, right? And then when you follow Christ and you associate with Christ, then you're free, right? It's really that simple, right? So when you associate with God, then you're free. Then you're in the private jurisdiction, and then you can do all of these wonderful things, right? So you got private money for private people, right? And that's just what you need to do, man. So, I just want people to be free, because I learned about banking through Bitcoin, and I learned about that through the blockchain. And I know that our political servants are writing traps up right now for the people, because they're going to trap them by what they call a digital currency, a federal digital currency or something like that, right? So they're going to make a USD digital currency that is not controlled by we the people, but controlled by a different bank, another private bank, right? Who we the people don't control, right? So this is one of the ones that you need to hop on to, because as long as you associate freely with these people, man, you're going to be free, okay? All right, so let's go ahead and move on to the word, right? Remember, Matthew 6:24. I keep doing this because repetition is key. No man can serve two masters, remember? You cannot serve God and Mammon, right? So in this realm, you get to choose, right? You always get to choose. You either serve God or you serve Mammon, right? Mammon means rich, Mammon means gain, right? So if you serve anything other than God, then we know that you're serving Mammon, right? Scary, simple service, okay? Let's keep it going. Genesis, right? So whenever the people want to know, where do I come from? Who created me? It's telling you right here in Genesis chapter 1:26. And God said, let us make man in our image. I'm just going to stop right there. So all people are created in the image of God, right? So if you ever want to know, what does God look like? Go look in the mirror, man, right? Go look in the mirror, and that's going to show you what God looks like, right? Because even though you can't see the spirit, right? Because the spirit is the breath, and the breath is what you blow, right? That's that smoke, that's that dust, that's that, that's that fire inside you. That's the energy that gets you going, right? But every man, every woman, every child, you are all created in the image of God, right? Simple, right? And then God gave all man all woman, all child, dominion over everything upon the earth, man. Stupid simple, right? All right, so let's keep it going. So here goes another PCAP, right? Psalms 82:6, right? I have said, God has said, big G, right? Yea are little g's, yea are gods, and all of you are children of the Most High. Remember that, right? Every man, every woman, every child, all of us wandering around the realm, whatever tribe that you might be a part of, whatever country that you might be in, whatever nation that you might be in, we're all the same, man. You know, we all are children of the Most High, right? So when you look up and you see that sky and you look down and you see Mother Earth, right? So when you see Father God, you know, up high, and when you see Mother Earth down low that you're walking on, you know that we're all the same, man. You know, we are all little G's, man, because Big G made us, right? You know, and then we walk on Mother Earth, and the Mother Earth also covers us, right? You know, so Father God covers us above, right? And Mother Earth covers us from below, right? And then we all are children, man. We're just walking around, hanging out, you know, trying to do our thing, right? Okay, so let's go. Here's John 1:1. We love John 1:1 because John 1:1 shows us up with the Word, right? The Word was God. That's all you need to know, right? That's all you need to know is that God created everything, and then the Word was God, right? You know, God created all, right? Everything that you see is a creation of God, right? Not man, not woman, not child, but God created everything that you can see, right? And if you all know that every man and every woman is your brother and your sister, then you guys are going to be cool, man. And then if you know that we walk in peace together and we're on the same page, we're going to be cool, man, because that's what the Word says, man. It's really simple, right? So we shouldn't have any division amongst each other as long as that we know that we're all brothers and we're all sisters, right? And we know that by who you serve, right? So if you serve God, right, and you follow God and you walk with God, right, then we know what's up with you, right? If you follow the riches and you follow the gain and you follow that money because you're like chasing that paper, man, then we know that you follow Mammon, right? And then that means that you follow the adversary, right? And then we know that you are not with us, right? You walk against God, right? And that's just scary simple now, man. Okay? We won't treat you any differently because we're just going to try to still talk to you and we're still going to try to show you the Word, right? Because we wish for you to walk with God, man. We wish for you to be one of the children who knows that they're one of the children, right? And then we're all in the same family, man. Remember that. We are family. Scary simple. Okay? All right. So I don't know why I just felt like singing that, but we really are. We're all family, man. We're all servants of God. Okay? So here we go. Let's close it out, right? Remember this, man. This is like the timeout that, you know, I used to do for a long time in surgery, right? But we're just letting you know. Here's the order. God created the world. Check. God created man, aka the people, check. People created states, check. People created constitutions, check. People created governments, check. Question, when did governments become boss of the people? Answer, never, ever. God is the boss of all people, man. And then the people are the bosses of all governments. Remember that, okay? You know, so now you know what's up. You know, so now you know what's up with the treason now. Now you know how the trust has been betrayed. Now you know how the confusion with the words bring war. It's really that simple, man. Okay? So that's it. I'm done, man. I'm going to go chill now because what time is it? It's like 12:29. You know, I'm just done for the day. You know, I just don't feel like talking anymore. I'm going to go chill out and then have some more coffee. I'll talk to you guys in the future. Remember, nobody's having more fun than us. Bye.